We're ready to go whenever you folks are.
Hey, thank you very much, Jocelyn, and thanks for everybody coming this evening. We are going to open the Victoria County Municipal Council meeting for Monday, August 24th, 2020. And the agenda has been circulated. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? And we have a motion to approve the agenda as circulated, please.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor McGuinness, seconded by?
Second.
Seconded by Councillor McNeil. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Contrary minded? Motion is carried. The agenda is approved, and we have regrets this evening from Councillor Patterson. His medical issue this evening, and he will not be joining us this evening. So tonight we're pleased to welcome representatives from Nova Scotia Power this evening. They're going to do a presentation for us on smart meters, and the project will be outlined by Mary Black, who's Government Relations, and Stephen Pothier, Director of Smart Meters Implementation Program. And we have Amy Woodford here, Manager of Field Support. So welcome, Council. Welcome to virtual. And you have a presentation, I understand, so we'll proceed with your presentation, and then we'll open it to questions after the presentation, if that is acceptable to you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Warden Morrison, Deputy Warden Daphne, and council and staff, of course. So this evening, as you just shared, I brought along some experts in some subject matter that I want to share with you guys. So I'll be driving the slides, and I'll also be capturing any action items that come up in the discussion session. So first I'd like to say, can you see my screen? It's a blue opening slide. Excellent. Okay, I've just received acknowledgement that you can see that. So I'm now going to go to the second slide, which is going to be spoke to from as was shared, the Manager of Field Support, Amy Woodford. And Amy, I'm just trying to move the slide here. Here we go. Take it away, Amy.
Great. Thanks very much, Mary. And thanks again to Council for having us. It doesn't seem that long ago that myself and a couple of other team members were there in Victoria County talking about some nasty winter weather and the reliability plan and tree trimming. So happy today to be bringing Steve Pothier along to be talking about smart meters. And before we got into the project, just wanted to reiterate sort of what our government relations team does. I know many of you are well versed in using the government relations email address and phone number, so that's great. And as a reminder, that is a dedicated line and channel for elected officials, whereas our customers would call into our customer care center directly. So really the intent of our group is first and foremost to help you with any constituent questions that you might have, or help triage any issues. And as we have been doing all along, trying to provide some proactive information to you in the event of whether it's planned power outages, storms, or projects such as what we're going to talk about today. So I would just remind you that we are available in a storm response event 24/7 via an on-call phone that my team circulates. And for any customer or constituent issues that we have that you want to investigate, you can go through the email line. And of course, anytime you have any types of topics or information that you want presented to council, certainly myself and Mary can coordinate and set those up. So without further ado, I will hand it over to the main event, Steve Pothier, talk about smart meters.
Thank you, Amy. Just want to check that folks can hear me okay.
Good here.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much. Pleasure to be here. I'm going to do a little brief introduction into smart meters and our smart meter project, and Mary's going to try and keep me on track in terms of time, and hopefully there'll be lots of time for questions at the end. So So just a little level sets in terms of why Nova Scotia Power is investing in smart meters. We hear regularly from customers that they're really looking for three things over and over and over. We hear this, so looking for stable rates, looking for improvements in reliability, and looking for cleaner energy. And smart meters really are a key to helping us achieve these three objectives for our customers. So we are making a major $133 million investment in modernizing the electricity grid in Nova Scotia. And smart meters are really a start of that. So smart meters come with a lot of inherent benefits and advantages for customers, but they're also an enabler. And I think of it a little bit like high-speed internet. Think of smart meters as really that enabling technology to enable lots of advantages in a smarter electricity grid. So just quickly, what is a smart meter? Smart meters really are, they really meter electricity no different than a regular meter does today, but they really enable a secure two-way communication with the meter, and that's really a game changer. It's a game changer in Nova Scotia in being able to communicate with the meters remotely and in both directions. But this is not new technology. Canadian homes, about 70% of Canadian homes and businesses already have smart meters installed. So we're a little bit of a late adopter in terms of technology in Nova Scotia. But having that ability to remotely communicate two-way with a meter is really a big change and will enable a lot of great benefits for both the utility and for customers. So in terms of the smart meters, they really, I'm going to just give you a quick overview of the network here. So the smart meters really record energy usage information, and that's really all they're recording. So they collect electricity usage, consumption, and some voltage and current information, and they really communicate that back to us at our head office. So a meter will collect that information. It'll relay that information to a data collector, and there's about 500 of these data collectors installed across the province, and these are a pole-mounted device. And then from that data collector, we use the cellular data network to backhaul all of that data back to our data center near Halifax. And that's really where we gather all of that information and assemble it and use it for a number of different purposes. But the primary one is really to generate consumption information and use that to generate bills. But it will also be used for a number of other advantages that I'll talk to on some of the next slides. So we really like to speak about a number of key benefits that come with smart meters. The first one is access to information. So this is really a game changer. The ability to retrieve information remotely and get it from the meter means that we can collect a lot more information and then provide that information back to customers. So in today's world, as a residential customer, as an example, you might receive a bill every 60 days, and that's really the only information you have about your electricity consumption. Well, with smart meters, we'll be collecting information 4 times a day, and we'll be collecting it in 15-minute intervals, and we'll be able to present that information back to customers. So as a customer, you'll be able to log on to a website, through a portal, through your phone, through a laptop or a tablet, and look at your energy consumption information in a level of granularity that you've never had in the past. So daily, weekly, monthly, even hourly consumption behavior, and that's really a game changer. We'll also enable customers to set up notices and alerts, so you can keep track if your consumption is trending in a way that you'd like to keep an eye on. So again, similar to what you might have with your data package on your phone, getting a notice if your bill is projected potentially to be higher than you might otherwise want. To give you information before you get your bill about how your consumption is trending. So that's sort of access to more information. Additionally, we'll be able to do some other really great things for customers, like the connection and disconnection of service without having to roll a truck. So these meters, because we can communicate with two-way, will enable us to connect or disconnect service without actually having to book an appointment and roll a truck or to send a truck to the site. And I'm sure that for many of our customers in rural Nova Scotia, we know that can be a challenge to get to the location in a timely manner. So having the ability to connect or disconnect service remotely is a game changer. And the third key benefit that we like to talk about is better information about power outages. So these smart meters will notify us if the power is lost to the meter, as well as when the power comes back onto the meter. So having much more detailed information about where the power is on or off will enable us to make better use of resources, particularly in large storm events. When we get to the tail end of a storm event and we're trying to dispatch, scarce and valuable line resources to restore power, knowing exactly who's on and who's off is really critical. So these are three of the key benefits that come with smart meters. It's certainly not an exhaustive list, but these are three benefits for obviously, safety and health is an important number one priority for Nova Scotia Power, and that doesn't change with smart meters. We started our smart meter upgrades back in October of 2019. With the emergence of the pandemic in March, we did take a pause in smart meter upgrades, and we used that pause to sort of reevaluate our procedures and our protocols to make sure that we were keeping both customers and employees safe when we were doing smart meter upgrades. So I was happy to see that we restarted meter upgrades on the 1st of June with these updated procedures and protocols. And we've really had great feedback from customers about how we're taking seriously their interests and keeping employees and customers safe. Next slide for me, Mary, thanks. So since October of 2019, we've installed about 165,000 meters across the province, about 32% of our customers. So that's a significant amount of meter upgrades that have already taken place. We will start, we did start, upgrades in the Strays area, sort of the eastern side of Cape Breton Island. So Port Hawkesbury, Shettycamp, Ingonish, and around to Bedekin. We started on the 27th of July, and we will start on the sort of western side of Cape Breton Island in around the end of September. So working into Isle Madame and Christmas Island and all the way up into Lewisburg. We will be, so we'll be hoping to sort of complete, those two areas of Cape Breton Island by the end of this year. And then we'll be moving into CBRM sort of early in 2021. So we do hear questions about questions from customers about whether or not they have options, and there are options for customers to opt out of smart meters. About 10,000 customers, a little less than 2% of our customer base has opted out of receiving a smart meter. And most often, the reasons cited for opting out of smart meters are concerns about radio frequency emissions, concerns about bills. And so for those customers, there's a process for them to opt out, which involves contacting our customer care center so that our folks can walk them through exactly what it means to opt out. There are services that customers who opt out will no longer, or will be unable to receive. And there are also some fees for opting out, as we will continue to have to read those customers' meters manually. I'm happy to say that support in sort of your sector of the province is quite high, with less than or about 0.5% of customers opting out in that area. So on the topic of opting out, we often hear things like, are smart meters safe? Are they accurate? Are they secure? And Nova Scotia Power is very confident in the safety, accuracy, and security of these meters. These smart meters do emit radio frequency emissions, just like we are surrounded by wireless devices in our world today. Wireless devices are regulated by Health Canada to make sure that radio frequency emissions do not pose a public health risk. And these smart meters, just like any other wireless device in the home, fall well below Health Canada guidelines. The meters are accurate. They're heavily regulated by Measurement Canada in terms of accuracy. So they really measure electricity no different than a legacy meter or a current meter might. And they're definitely safe. So Underwriters Laboratories does significant testing on smart meters to make sure they're safe. And from a security standpoint, these meters use sophisticated data encryption to make sure that the data that we are transmitting is secured all the way from the meter all the way back to and to provide maybe some additional comfort for folks. The only thing that's really being transmitted is electricity consumption information. There's no information being contained in those transmissions. There's no account number, there's no names, there's no addresses. It's simply electricity consumption information. There's no charge for upgrading to a smart meter, and we think this is a big grid modernization initiative that will lead to stable rates, cleaner environments, cleaner energy supply, better reliability, and enhanced services for our customers. So really excited that we're started with smart meters. I'm really excited to be coming to your area of the province to start meter upgrades. I would expect that customers in your constituencies have already started to see communications. So in advance of us doing meter upgrades, customers will receive notices. And so this is a combination of letters, mail drops, bill inserts, and sessions like this where we provide information to stakeholders and government officials to let folks know that we're coming. I would expect that, given that we're starting in Victoria County the 28th of September, that we would start to see this communication out shortly. And so this really just explains what customers can expect when we do smart meters in their area, what they can expect at the doorstep, and directs them to our website for additional information. So smart meters, safe, accurate, secure, lots of benefits for customers, quicker response time, remote connection and disconnection of service, and additional information. And so that's really a game changer for our customers, and really is the first step in modernizing our electricity grid, enabling to provide these advanced services. I think, Mary, that might be the end of the slides.
It is, yes.
And that's a very quick overview, but happy to take and answer as many questions as I can in the time that we have.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I'll be capturing any inquiries that we don't have an answer for tonight, or any action items. And Steve and Amy will probably be most confidently speaking to your subject matter, but I'll capture the notes.
Great, thank you very much, and thank you very much for the presentation. I think what we'll do, because we are virtual, is that we'll probably just go through the different districts and ask the individual councillors if they have any questions or comments, and then we'll wrap up with any final comments if necessary. So perhaps we'll start with District Number 1, Councillor McNeil, please.
Hello, Steve, Mary, and Amy. Thank you for the presentation tonight. Yes, I have a couple of questions. With regards to safety, Steve, is there more chance of a fire around the new meters than the old meters? Like, a lot of people are asking me that question. So.
No, so I would say there's probably less chance of fires with the smart meter program than prior to the smart meter program. So we do hear from customers some concerns about fires. There was a situation in Saskatchewan about 10 years ago when they first started rolling out smart meters in that jurisdiction. They had I'm going to call it a niche meter manufacturer, and they did have some problems with smart meters in that jurisdiction. Happy to report that we're not using that meter manufacturer. We're using a meter from a company called Itron. They have something like 80 million of this style of meter installed across North America, 20 million of the particular type that we're using, and no fires as a result. I would also say that as part of the installation process, we do an evaluation, or sort of a safety evaluation, when we go to remove the existing meter. Our technicians will look at the customer's electrical infrastructure at the point that we're doing the meter exchange. And we do find deteriorated electrical infrastructure. That's probably no surprise. We have a lot of coastal environments and salt contamination and things like that. So, and I am very confident in saying that this province will be electrically safer after we're done smart meters than before we started.
Another question. Also, Steve, on an interview you had on CTV on March 4th, you mentioned that there'd be a $48 possibly if a charge if a person opted out. Like people on like a yearly or a monthly bill, and they have their bill monthly, possibly only get their meters checked twice a year anyway, or should only get their meters checked twice a year for the monthly. Would they still have to pay that $48 charge?
Yes. So the fees that are being communicated for opting out of standard meter service. So once we roll out smart meters will be the standard meter service in Nova Scotia. And if you want to opt for non-standard meter service, there will be a fee for that. And that's for residential customers, that's $4 a month. So a total of $48 a year. And for business customers that have their meter read monthly, it's I believe $22 a month. And that really, those costs are really there to cover the costs associated with continuing to read those meters manually and making sure that those costs are not passed on to the majority of customers who take standard meters. Okay. Those fees, sorry, go ahead.
No. Like, if a person opts out now, you say there's no charge for to install the new meters. But if a person opts out and changes their mind in the future, would there be a charge?
No, there would not. So a customer will be able to opt out at the future, opt in the future at no charge.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Take it.
Thank you, Councillor. We're going to move to District 2. Councillor McLeod, please.
Thank you for your presentation and welcome. I don't have any question. It's just a comment. Councillor McNeil, I have some residents just saying about the safety of this, about the wireless and the 5Gs and all that. Just to clarify, that you can clarify to our resident that is safety, because there's some questions about the wireless and 5G or 3G, and so just to clarify, is everything's fine?
Sure. So as I mentioned, all wireless devices in Canada are regulated for wireless or radio frequency emissions under Health Canada's guidelines, something called Safety Code 6. And so whether it's a garage door opener or a cell phone or a baby monitor or a smart meter, they are all regulated by Health Canada for radio frequency emissions, and smart meters fall well below the guidelines established by Health Canada for RF emissions and have been deemed by both Health Canada, the WHO, the FCC as to pose no health risk.
Okay. Steve, if I could, I think there's perhaps another component to Councillor McLeod's question, if I'm hearing it correctly, with respect to wireless connections. Just wanted to clarify the question might have also had something to do with security.
Yes.
So from a security standpoint, so are you thinking about sort of IT security?
Yeah.
So the smart meters and the smart meter technology that we're implementing has inherent sort of security built into the program. The data is encrypted right from the point of the smart meter itself, right from the point the data is collected, and all the way back to Nova Scotia Power's corporate offices near Halifax. That data is encrypted all the way, can only be sort of read and interpreted with a set of sort of corresponding electronic keys. And we follow a number of smart grid standards with respect to security of that data. And I think the other thing that's important on that topic is that data, like I mentioned, is not contains no personal information, or it's only electricity consumption information.
Okay, thank you so much, and it's great. With that, we can see we have no power. That will be great. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Councillor McLeod. We're going to go to District 4 with Councillor McGuinness, please. Any questions or comments for NSP?
Yes, thank you for your presentation. I might have missed it, but did you say what is the total cost to do this changeover?
So the upfront cost is $133 million, and over the life of the program, I want to say it's about 178, but we'll pay back $208 million to customers. So the net benefit to customers is about $38 million over the life of the 20-year life of the program.
So who's going to end up paying for the whole deal?
So that's part of our regular capital program, no different than when we're investing in poles or transformers. And so that's, in fact, one of these initiatives that actually will help contribute to stable rates in the future because it actually saves more than it costs.
Okay, well, when you mentioned poles, I live in a rural area down the capital,
mm-hmm.
and we have both Nova Scotia Power poles and Alliant poles.
Mm-hmm.
Will the day ever come when one of them can be eliminated? It doesn't seem sensible to have two poles. It's a safety hazard if a car goes in the ditch, for one example. And it doesn't look very nice to have poles 2 feet apart from each other when one could serve the same purpose.
Yes, so we do have a joint, so this is a little, sort of outside of my realm at the moment, but I have worked in this area of the business I've worked for Nova Scotia Power for many years, have some familiarity with what we call the joint use arrangement between Bell and Nova Scotia Power in terms of pole sharing. So we do share poles in many areas of the province. And in some cases, you will see pole lines where there's, Bell on one side and Nova Scotia Power on the other. And typically what will happen is when there's a major investment to make in that pole line, we will look at that time to, basically cohabit on a single pole line. That's typically done on a case-by-case basis and really depends on, is there a case for it at the time. But I do hear what you're saying. There are many roads in Nova Scotia where you can drive down and you can see, Bell poles on one side and Nova Scotia Power on the other.
Well, they're at least on the same side as, in my community, they're on the same side, but they're only 2 feet apart on the same side of the road, which is really, really weird. Okay, that's it.
That does sound unusual.
Well, it is, yeah. Okay, thank you. I'd like for you to look into this, if it's possible that it could be altered.
Yeah, so I'll add that I've captured your comments and I know the people to ask the question to. So if you leave that with me, I will forward you something in the coming days.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. And we're going to move to District Number 6, Deputy Warden Dolphin, please.
Yes, thanks very much, Mary, Stephen, and Amy. I appreciate your presentation. Just one concern I had is with the ability to disconnect and reconnect power remotely. Will there still be human interaction with disconnections? I guess my concern is if we do have some low-income families that are having issues with paying their bills, will this be a computer program that's just automatically going to disconnect them, or will there still be human interaction to make sure that the situation is properly identified?
So the latter. So there will still be human interaction. So not at the doorstep, but so you would know, I think you would probably be aware that we take a lot of steps with our customers as part of the cycle before a customer might get into a disconnect situation for payment. And those processes aren't changing. So all of, whether it's payment arrangements or all of the outreach and all the notices and notifications that we have to do with customers remain unchanged. But the physical turning on or turning off of power will be done without, putting a truck in the yard, so to speak.
Oh, that's great. No, as long as that interaction is still there, that was my concern. And I take it nothing will change as far as still the policy of not turning anyone's power off in the winter. There'll be no changes to those policies, I take it.
Right. So we're not changing any of our sort of collections or payments processes as a result of this.
Perfect. No, that's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. Councillor Budge, any questions or comments from District Number 7?
No questions. Just like to thank them for their presentation.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor McDonald, District Number 8, any questions or comments for NSP?
Yes, thank you, Warden. Thank you, folks, for your presentation this evening. I was just wondering, when do you project or perceive that you'll be starting in northern Victoria County up towards Bay St. Lawrence, Cape North area? with the installation of smart meters?
So we should be in that area now. I can't say specifically, Cape North, but that. So I think you're talking about sort of northwestern.
Top of the island, yeah.
Yes. So we would be active in that area of Cape Breton Island now. It's very much dependent on what the sort of meter reading cycle is in that area. And Mary, maybe we could follow up with some more specifics timing, but I know we're active in that whole western side of Cape Breton Island now and will be until about the end of the year.
Yeah. So, I'll add to that. I receive reporting about twice a week that gives me drilled down detail in regard to where we're working, which is really useful, especially supporting our customer care staff when customers are reaching out to us. We want to know where Tribus, which is the subcontractor, is. We want to know where they are. I'll tell you, often in these meetings, we find out where they are because I hear from folks like yourself that they're seeing the trucks come into town, and the little hotels and the restaurants are really appreciating the business, especially during these times. So I don't think anyone in the room with us this evening has shared with me that they've seen the trucks, but they are close. And like I said, I'll follow up and provide you that information in the coming days.
Great, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. CAO, do you have any questions this evening?
Yeah, I just have one. There's some comments. So there's 26 people currently that are following us on Facebook. And one of the comments there is, as I'm probably pretty sure I know the answer, but these smart meters won't need a meter reader any longer to come out and read them. So I'm assuming that there will be some job losses.
So part of that part of that statement is correct. So one of the advantages of smart meters is that you no longer have to send somebody to the property to go read them. Happy to report. So smart meters, have been something that we've been working on in our business for a number of years. We've known that they've been coming for some time, and we've worked really hard with that area of the business to make sure that our employees have opportunities for other things and other opportunities. And we've been, I think it's one of our great success stories is that for the vast majority of folks that work in that area of the business, we have new opportunities identified for them within the business. And so job loss is not a major factor.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you. I just had just to clarify, so it's not Nova Scotia Power staff that will be doing the installation. It's the contractor that you've contracted to who will be doing the actual installations. Is that correct?
That is correct. So so we've subcontracted the actual physical installation of meters to a company called Tribus Services Limited. They have about 100 installers across the province. It's a huge job to do 500,000 meter upgrades across the province. But they are working on behalf of Nova Scotia Power, so that you will see them in vehicles with Nova Scotia Power brand. They also will have a Tribus sticker on them. They might look like a Nova Scotia Power employee, but they are badged and have ID that clearly identifies them as a contractor. But they are, rest assured, they are there working on behalf of Nova Scotia Power and following our procedures and protocols.
Yeah, yes, and to Mary's point, I think they were in Bedeque late last week.
They would have been.
Yeah, and we did receive phone calls, etc. I don't think I got a new meter yet, but I didn't check. So, just the sorry, go ahead, Councillor McLeod.
Yeah, I see the cars on Wednesday behind the rink. So was allowed like maybe 10 or 12 cars with loading the meters. So yes. They're around here now. Yeah.
Very good.
So that's for Mary. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
We can confirm their sighting.
Yeah, good.
I know they're there.
The other question I had for you, you had mentioned that the uptake here was quite high. So are there other parts of the province that it's considerably lower, or is it why are we higher, do you think?
Well, so there is a small subset of vocal customers, and there is certain areas or certain communities where that seems to be more prevalent than others. So down along the south shore of Nova Scotia, as an example, is an area where we see more opt-out customers than more customers opting out of standard meter service than we see in your area of the province. I would say that's very much sort of community oriented, and who's driving some of the agenda in the local area.
Okay, very good. Are there any other final questions or comments for Mary, Stephen, or Amy tonight? Well, we'd like to thank you very much for your presentation tonight. It was most informative and timely, since the contractor is in the area, and as councillors, we do get questions. And the other issue is power outage is always an issue, particularly in northern Cape Breton, because of the weather and the issues around there. So we genuinely appreciate your presentation this evening, and I want to thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Okay, bye for now.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hold on.
So we're going to move on to the next item on the council agenda, and it is the approval of the minutes for our last council meeting, which was August 10th, 2020. Those documents have been forwarded to you. You've had a chance to review them. Are there any errors or omissions in the minutes of August 10th? Hearing none, do we have a motion to accept the minutes of August 10th, please?
So moved.
Moved by the Deputy Warden, seconded by?
Second it.
Councillor McGuinness, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion's carried. The minutes are approved. Is there any old business coming out of the minutes of August?
I just have one. Just if you can give an update about the children's signage. It went to tender, or we're still waiting for numbers from another councillors?
I think that we have ordered all the signs. So if you have an address, I believe that we're waiting on the addresses right now. Once we have the addresses of where the sign is actually supposed to go, then they can start to be installed, because they are being installed by our staff.
So you don't have the date yet? No.
No, but maybe Heather will send out an email tomorrow again as a last call for anyone who wants them right now, and we can start getting them up ASAP.
Oh, thanks. That will be great. Thank you.
There's one other thing. Councillor Daphne was looking for dog signs to keep the dogs on your leash. I found 2 here, so I'll take them to Badek the next time I'm over in Badek, probably at the end of the week. Councillor Daphne.
Okay, so okay. I do have a couple of other things. There was a request for messaging on Victoria County Transit that is now out, and information is on our website. There was also some information that was requested on recycling and sorting FAQs. So that information is now available also, but we're still not doing as great as we were in the last couple of years for our sorting. So it might be some more education that is needed in that area. So we're working with our communications officer on what the best method is to get out and get our numbers down again in our rejections. And there was a water bill issue that we have looked into, which I believe has been resolved now.
Thank you very much. And I just wanted to clarify the signage. Our staff are putting them up. And if you want to put up in your district, you have to provide the
address.
Location. Yep, the address. And so the sooner that you get that information, the sooner we'll be able to get them up. You're not in receipt of those signs yet, though. Did I understand that correctly?
I believe we do have them.
Okay. Okay, great. So that's it for old business. Anything else before we move on to new business? So with new business, we will have a report provided by CAO, please.
Yeah, so I've provided you my report today, just letting you know, August seems to be a little bit better in rejections than July was, but we're still in the 40s and 50s of bags that are being rejected in recycling and garbage. it seems to be a lot of compost in the recyclables and issues with items that shouldn't be in the blue bags going in the blue bags. So again, we're still working on what the best method is to educate again related to that. So we know that that's an area, we want to get those numbers back down to 5 to 10 a week. I had a meeting today with department heads. So I want to give you a little update on some of them. So in our tourism department, Dan is continuing his tourism visits around the county. He thought this last couple of weeks that numbers seem to be up. So we were projecting probably at a lot of our operators to be around 30% would be good, but a lot of them seem to have some good moods, which is last week also, but some were reporting at about 50% of occupancy. So not great, but 50% is, it's better than what we were expecting for that. But he's going to be heading up to Ingonish and St. Anne's this week and talking to some of the businesses up there. He's also working on the website that we are continuing to do changes to. We should be seeing a new website in the near future. And you'll have to have a look and when we launch our new website. He's also working with tie-ins to update the community profiles around the area, and we'll be having some public meetings related to those. So currently the community profiles that tie-ins have might be a little outdated. So we're going to be looking at doing some updates to those things. And he's also working with tie-ins on some training initiatives to get involved in throughout the shoulder seasons. Washrooms are still an ongoing issue. We are making some strides, but I think he's still waiting. He's going to have a meeting with one other potential spot for a washroom. He is also working on a community placemaking project around the county. And placemaking is the new buzzword that Nova Scotia seems to be using. Developed Nova Scotia likes it for having a spot where the community likes to go, and we're going to be doing some initiatives related to that. He's also revisiting the winter readiness program that he had started last year, and COVID gave that a little bit of a stall. So we're going to be bringing that one back around. And he's also looking at running some fall workshops. There was a couple that didn't go on in the spring, but some related to website management for operators. In our recreation and active living, this is Lydia's department. She's delivered the craft kits to the resource center. The craft kits have been extremely popular. She also has rec kits that'll be going to different community organizations. Hopefully they'll be renting them out. They were a huge success as well. She's closed the active living survey and is in the process of compiling the responses to that. She is working with Parks on doing a statement and getting the Moby mats sent up there and to get them put into place in 1 to 2 areas within the park. She is also, she's talked about a community works project. There's a local artist who is doing some paintings on the trails. And so she is working on getting a grant for this artist to do these, to showcase their art on the trails. And she's also going to run a guided hike and possibly showcase these paintings while doing that. And she's also working on a hiking etiquette photo challenge and hopefully running that over the long weekend, which I believe is next weekend. And she's also looking to do a promotion of the workplace wellness subsidy that we have available for all of our staff members. In economic development, which is Patrick, had some discussions with him. He's still plugging along with Cape Smoky, hitting a couple of roadblocks, but moving ahead with that. The Cape Breton Partnership is putting some final touches on the housing strategy that has been in the works for the last probably 12 months. And we should be seeing something on that in the next, hopefully the next bit. They're also talking about a mountain bike strategy. The first draft that is being prepared is going to be ready soon. currently there's 17 groups that are interested in working on this mountain bike strategy. So really exciting. It's a different niche than what we are used to. And ACOA seems to be interested in helping out the businesses and the trails that this could be affecting. So that's really good news. There's also 4 businesses in the last week that are looking to expand. He says talking to a lot of the accommodation operators around the county, what the common theme is that there's not enough places to eat. His analogy was if we put another 50 restaurants up around the area, we could, it still wouldn't be enough with, and plus with the capacity that we are expecting to have over the next couple of years, there's going to be a need. So some of these establishments are saying, well, if there's nobody else going to do it, then we're going to expand into it. So there's actually some expansions over the last little bit, which is really great to hear. He's also had some meetings with Parks Canada on 3 separate initiatives. Don't really want to give too much information on it just yet, but working on 3 different things there. And he's also working with businesses on changes to the wage subsidy program. There's been some changes over the last little bit, and different ways to qualify or ways not to qualify. So if there's anyone out there, any businesses that are concerned over it, they should be contacting Patrick at the Cape Breton Partnership. I met with Alex. So Alex and I will be meeting tomorrow to discuss her upcoming maternity leave and replacing her position. She's also going to be having some internal statements ready to send out to counselors and to the different departments in the coming days. So you should be receiving that fairly soon. And then she was also, her and some of the counselors were involved in a fire services committee meeting today, the first one. So I haven't heard all the details on it, but I think it was a productive first meeting. Public Works. So in our Public Works department, there's a pre-design study being started for the wastewater treatment plant in Ingonish. It's best to have a study done to get funding for those projects. We've also sent out water arrears letters. There's been about 90 letters that have gone out in arrears in the water utilities, and we've only had about 7 responses on it. So we are hoping that that's going to increase in the next coming days. So hopefully collections will start to go better. We have had an RFP for processing materials and for waste management review or overall system review, and both of those have been awarded. So those are the department head items. Just have another couple of things. I was talking with Robert today in Public Works, and residents should probably be happy with this one. I think we're talking about doing heavy garbage for the 3rd week of September. So it's probably about the 21st or the 23rd, starting around that week. So we will be getting more information out related to that, but we are hoping that that will be happening in the fall rather than in the spring this year. So September. We've received training on Voyant Alert, which is the system that is county run on getting messages out related to county information and county services. And we have had the training done on it. We're looking to roll this out in September also. And again, we need residents to sign up for it so that they can get the information related to water breaks or water boil orders, or hopefully no boil orders, but if there is some information that has to go out, you have to be signed up for it. And we will be doing tutorials and lots of different ways to get residents signed up for it. So that should be happening within the next month. And also we, thanks to an application from Councillor McLeod and our communications officer, we have applied for a zero plastic waste project funding, and we've received a grant for $25,000 for it from the feds. So it's an initiative to research a new way to deal with items, take them out of our landfill. So not exactly sure what the nuts and bolts are of it. We are having a meeting with the lady that we received the letter from, but we are having that meeting this week with her and hopefully rolling that out in the near future. That's all I got.
That's any questions or comments for CAO this evening?
Just congratulations to Jocelyn for that. So it's great news about that grant. So
yeah,
yeah, very happy about that.
I don't think we thought it was happening. So
I know. I'm just applying. So you know what? Yeah. Thanks.
Good job to you both.
Oh, it's good news on that, particularly about plastic bags at zero. They're back in a lot of use now, so it's nice to see the plan to reduce their use, so to speak. Sorry, Councillor McGuinness, did you have a comment?
Yes, the heavy garbage would be a week-long process, would it? I assume
it should be, yeah, approximately, yeah.
Okay. And another thing I was wondering about is the washrooms. I'm just wondering, it doesn't seem, I was assuming a couple of years ago that it would have no problem to have a volunteer group step up to the plate to do this. I'm wondering, is it possible that an employee within the district that might be employed in a district where the washrooms are going to be, would they be interested in attending to them during the weekends and maybe an hour or so a day at the end of the day or whatever? Is it something we could look at maybe?
We can possibly. I think we have to find a location in your area first.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we'll work out the nuts and bolts on it, but we have to find the spot to stick it first.
Okay. Fair enough. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Just going to go back to my.
So I have one more thing. So there's a word on here from Facebook that Keith Bain and Brian Daphne send greetings.
Well, thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Just one other thing, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
The thought of the Seawall Trail was going through my mind. Is there any word on that these days? Or is there any talks about it?
I haven't heard anything related to it, but it was one that there was a department within the province that was going to be one of their signature. Their signature trails. Yeah. So I have not heard anything lately, but I will check in on that, and I'll see what I can find out.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other final opportunity, questions or comments for CAO new business and her report this evening? Not, we'll move on to taxation update, please.
Okay, so buckle down, everyone. You may not like this report that you're going to get. So as you realize, we've changed our due date on taxes, so they're not due until the end of September. So take this with, that is something to do with the numbers that I'm going to give you. However, we are sitting at 6.877 million outstanding versus 3.38 million this time last year. So we are about twice as much outstanding as we were at this time last year. 6 million of that outstanding is current compared to 2.5 of it current as of last year. So again, about 3.5 million in the difference is current. So it seems to be in this year's billing. Arrears have slipped a bit. So we have 826,000 versus 840 this time last year. Hopefully we'll see a pickup in payments as of September 30th, but right now the gap is really large. So we are hoping there is a drive on to get anyone with outstanding taxes in paid, because as you leave it for longer than the current year, the problem just keeps compounding and getting bigger. So we're encouraging residents who would qualify for a low income exemption to look up the form for low income. It's not just seniors, it's anyone with low income that can apply for a rebate on their property taxes. There's also a provincial seniors grant that is available. So we are hopeful that everyone is just sort of lagging on paying their taxes just because it's not due yet. There's no interest being charged until the 1st of October, but we're encouraging everyone to get the payments in. So not great news, but it is what it is.
Any questions on the taxation report? Just a quick question, Leanne. If we were to look back last year where taxes were due at the end of August, is there that much outstanding and during a similar time period, or does this seem to be more excessive this year?
Well, again, last year, this date, last year was about 3.5. So if the difference seems to be we're 3.5 worse. So it seemed, I think it has a lot to do with the timing and yeah, the end of September being the date. I'm hoping that that's what a lot of it has to do with. Just to let you know, we've received 2 more commercial applications for the installment program. So we have 3 currently that are that have applied for the property tax refinancing program that is available. So that's great that there's some more that are taking advantage of that. Also, just to let you know, we've picked November 24th as the first tax sale by tender. And we've sent out 30-day letters for any properties that were supposed to be up last March before COVID hit. So the same method of advertising for these will be happening. So they'll be advertised on our website and in the paper. But we will be going with a tax sale by tender. And November 24th is the date for that.
Thank you. Just one other quick question, if I could, and it has to do with tourist establishments. We know that there was an ask from the industry to the federal government for $15 billion relief, financial assistance. Apparently, the province or the government has come back with $6 million, which is significantly less. Are there any municipalities offering any kind of tax relief for tourist accommodations, particularly the accommodations sector? Because I think the restaurants they're not doing great, but they're surviving. But we certainly know the accommodations are anywhere from 50 to 70% down. Any other municipalities looking at that at this point in the absence of any federal assistance?
So all of them are able to take advantage of the same program that we have taken advantage of.
Right.
And so that's available to anyone across the province.
Okay. So nobody has offered anything other than what's being offered at present. So no. Great. An operator asked me about that this week, so I said I would clarify that. Thank you very much. Are there having no further comments or questions? We are going to the next item on the agenda. So Department of Transportation Infrastructure Renewal. So we'll start top of the island, District number 8. Any concerns for TIR this evening?
Yes, thank you, Warden. I wish during one of these council sessions I could say no, that I don't have concerns, but I actually have many for this evening. First, start off, there's still to date, there's no signage put up in Dingwall where the shoulder erosion subject was brought up. Over 3 weeks ago, I was down to that area last night, no signage in place to date. And yes, we get each storm coming in, it's getting worse and worse. So I don't know, I think that should be noted as soon as possible to please get some signage up in the area. I'm getting calls from residents with regard to that. The second item is I had a call from a constituent on Thursday of last week regarding the intersection at Dingwall and Cape North, the Y intersection that I brought up last year and a few months back prior, looking for some type of directional signage or just an assessment in general, I guess. And it was a pretty close call. She said it really upset her and she was very worried over that. And there's been no no attention granted towards that yet. And for safety review with Mr. Murphy, I guess is the gentleman that's going to come down and have a look for that area. We're basically still waiting 3 years for him to assess the South Harbour situation. So I don't know who's the proper person to contact in regard to that, but it's something that needs immediate attention. Going onward over towards St. Margaret's Village, just turning down from the co-op store, the pavement has dropped down about 1.5 feet going down into the village of St. Margaret's there. And there's been 3 or 4 cars that have obtained substantial damage there. It has to be, I guess, shouldered properly and some asphalt put in place there, if that could be looked at as well. Also going up further to St. Margaret's Village on this side of Capstick, there's a total washout of the shoulder there, just on this side of the Capstick sign. And it's literally the guardrail post is hanging to the ocean. It's a 200-foot drop from the roadway. And I've had calls from people in regard to that for like school buses traveling over that roads in the winter, and it's icy. And I mean, at least we got to try to get some signage up in that area. And that's been like that now for going over 2 years, right? The neglect is just, it's unreal. Also, I had some inquiries from constituents in regards to jobs located in the depots from Ingonish and Cape North. Our current staff that we have with TIR, there's approximately 5 gentlemen who plan or will be retired within the next year, and looking for, you know, what's the plan for North of Smoky? Who's going to be working and taking care of our roads and issues and maintenance concerns up here? I know I do realize it's a union thing that goes through, but there is people in this area that are eligible to work and they want to work, but they're reaching out to find out what the process is, because when those 5 gentlemen retire, then we don't have a TIR staff north of Smoky. So who's going to run it and where's it going to come out of? I'd like to have Mr. McDonald address that as well. And the famous line truck did make its appearance, a short appearance in Cape North, came to the top of the hill, and it's yet to be seen onward from Bay St. Lawrence, Aspey Bay area. None of Dingwall was completed as of late. So I don't know if it broke down or they ran into paint, but once again, there's no paint truck in the area. If we could have TIR have a look at that as well. And lastly, I was wondering if I could make a motion to have a letter sent to the Honorable Lloyd Hines of TIR that will enlist the concerns that I brought up this evening in respect to the neglect of the road issues within District 8 and the deplorable status of the shoulders of the guardrails and lack of maintenance in general in District 8. And it's no disrespect to the local TIRs. There's been no work that's been done in this area for years. And this really has to be addressed. It's so important. And I'd ask if we could have maybe Mr. McDonald come down and visit the top of the island. I haven't seen him in quite some time. And I would like to ask MLA Bain too, if he'd come down. I would gladly take them through the district on a little tour. And maybe we could go through and see some of these issues that really need attention. So I'd like to make that a motion if I could at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. The request for a motion is from Councillor McDonald, or do we have a seconder for that, please?
Second that.
Second. Nope.
Sorry, I'm not sure who I picked up on that. I think it was the Deputy Warden. So it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried, and we'll send out the request, Councillor.
That's it for TIR concerns this evening. Thank you, Warden.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. District number 7, Councillor Budge, any TIR issues this evening?
No, Mr. Ward, I don't have anything.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move down to District number 6, Deputy Warden Daphne, any TIR issues this evening?
Thank you, Warden. Yeah, a couple of things. Great job there, Councillor McDonald. He echoed a lot of my concerns also with the staffing and the lack of work, and definitely good job there. Two things. I know we did have the meeting with Minister Hines. Just wondering if we could follow up, because we did ask some questions and really didn't get any answers. But from my district, what I'd like to know is exactly what equipment is coming north of Smoky this winter. So we get a list of actual equipment that is going to be here, the age of the equipment and the make of the model of the equipment. So we know what actually is going to be in our district north of Smoky this winter, because I'm still hearing a lot of rumors about some of the equipment they're planning on sending down. Second thing, I also mentioned to Minister Hines in our discussions, wondering if we could actually get a copy of the budgets, the salt budgets, for a number of counties. Like, for example, if we did Victoria County, Inverness County, let's say Queens County, and maybe Annapolis County. I'd like to see what the differences are between the budgets. Are we the same budget, or what is the difference? So we're going to make that request in our letter to the minister would be great. And I'd also like to Minister Bain and Steve McDonald, if they're coming down to see Norman, definitely would love for them to drop by my district also. So, and that's it for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We've duly noted each of those, Deputy Warden. Thank you very much. District number 4, Councillor McGuinness.
Well, I mentioned before about the non-existence of staff in District 4, and I'm assuming by the sound of the prior 2 councillors that it's the same in their area, and they just are not being here, period. There's nothing getting done, and I really think, say it again, that maybe what we have to do is put this work that's to be done out on tender. Let private contractors get a chance to do it and get it done, because there are situations where they're a danger, like Councillor Donald mentioned, and even just I noticed a drive through in Englishtown today. There's a request that I put for a hole at the side of the road at the wharf maybe 6 weeks ago. Still not done. Now there's a flagpole sticking up through the hole. There's something not right. I mean, I know that it's different circumstances, but there's other people doing lots of fun. It's not holding back private contractors on Smoky, that's for sure. They're going 12 hours a day, 5 days a week. So I think that's something that we should really look at. We don't see their vehicles here whatsoever. And another thing, with these rural roads that have been done the last few years in my district, I don't understand why they don't make our rural roads the same as our TransCanada. The standards, I mean, the trucks today, the same truck that's going on the TransCanada with the 30 or 35 ton of material on it is still coming down on our roads, and they're substandard to what the TransCanada is. I would think it'd be to their benefit to make the roads the same, because the same traffic is traveling on the same every day. I think, like, we have pavement that was laid here only 6 or 7 years ago, and it's deteriorating already. It's cracking, and that's all because of the weight of the vehicles that's been on the roads these days. That's something I would recommend that we should send to the minister and ask if they would consider that, making all the roads in the rural areas the same standard as the TransCanada roads.
Okay, thank you. And
that's about it, I think.
okay, thank you, Councillor McGuinness. And I guess just to reinforce the comments that are made by the last 3 councillors, we're not talking about maintenance and the condition of the roads now. We're talking about the dangerous conditions that are there. They're going to be potentially lead to some serious accidents as a result of the lack of maintenance. So it's
absolutely
seriousness of it, yeah. So I think if we go back to, if you 2 are in agreement, we go back to the motion that was made by Councillor McDonald. Maybe we would just reinforce the importance that this is not just a maintenance issue now. It's a potential danger to the traveling public. So real danger, as we know it, as you guys have witnessed. So maybe that sound reasonable. That will be the tone of the letter, as opposed to a lack of maintenance, that we're beyond that there are potential serious consequences because of this lack of maintenance. Okay, good. Thank you very much. We're going to go to district number 2.
Okay, thank you. I have one. The bridge we have, it's in McLeod Bridge. It will be in Middle River Cable Trail. We just have another fatal accident there. The problem is the speed is going from Margaree, I think, to Bedek, and Bedek to Margaree. The signage is 50 kilometers, but it's very small. So I wonder if we can ask them to change it for a little bigger signage to say it's 50 kilometers. I think the speed is there very, when you go the curb, it's very, they can control it. So we have last I think it was 2 weeks ago, an accident. So I just wonder if they can change the signage a little bigger for the people is driving around there. And I need my letter was in July 6th. Anything I put in the letter is still outstanding. So it's the same issues I have from July 6th.
Okay. And Councillor McDonald, I think you alluded to a meeting with staff from TIR. So it certainly seems that issues north and south. So maybe it's time that we sat down and held them accountable for some of the issues that we brought to their attention that clearly have not received proper attention. So, okay.
Do you want us to schedule another meeting, another quarterly meeting? I think it's
that would be
September, but we can.
Yeah, maybe because COVID maybe it's different. So maybe they can give us the outliners, like how it's going to work now. So we'll be better for that. Thanks.
No, thank you. And I'm hearing that, and I'm thinking it's time to revisit. We've sent the letters we've sent to the ministers to come back locally. Anyway, we're not getting any response. So anyway, we'll request a meeting with them again and ask them for an update. And perhaps if we do ask for a meeting, it'll spur a little bit of interest in some of these things that have been outstanding for some time. Go to District 1 and Councillor McNeil.
No, nothing. No, I'm just kidding. Basically, it's the same situation in District 1. Nothing really has been done. There was patching, as I mentioned last meeting, through Jamesville and Iona area, but the patching in the Jamesville gypsum outcrop there has to be looked at again. It's starting to, the patching itself starting to go down into the hole. For your information, the Washabek Road is still not patched. This is probably 3 years that I've been looking for it to get patched. It was supposed to be patched 2 weeks ago. Now they're saying it should be patched this week. So hopefully it'll happen this week, but I'm not sure. There was a pothole missed on Hector's Point. It's really dangerous. It's when you come across around the turn at Hector's Point, you're not expecting it. If a motorcycle hits it, it's about, I'd say it's close to 12 inches deep. If a motorcycle hits it, they're in the ditch. Gillis Point Road at the bridge there, before you come to the bridge going to Washabek, again, has to be looked at as soon as possible. I've mentioned it the last month. At council meetings, it seems to be giving way underneath the pavement for an area, so it has to be looked at pretty soon. Also, the Birch Point South Cove Road, I wanted this kept on the list because it has to be built up because the water is basically up at the road right now. And I have to add one more item. Sorry, Heather, I sent you my list, but I have to add one more item. Grass Cove Road, bank erosion. There's 2 areas there. Basically, it has what Councillor McDonald was talking about, the guardrails basically hanging in the air. So it has to be looked at. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McNeil. Just from District 3, I just want to mention that the exits coming into the deck 8, 9, and I suspect 10, weeds are growing up all along the guardrails. Not only is it unsightly, it's becoming a hazard to the traveling public that are trying to look left or right with the amount of foliage that's and weeds that are growing up. So Wouldn't take a lot of work to have those cleaned. Also, it's the appearance to our community, which certainly doesn't look very appealing when people are coming in off the roads, and that's the first thing they see is the amount of weeds, etc., that are growing at each of those entrances to the community. So I'll add that to my list, or to the list for TIR, and we will ask that the CAO get in touch with senior staff at the Department of Transportation or Transportation Infrastructure Renewal and see if they can set up a meeting to address some, if not all, of these concerns that have been repetitive at council for the last 2 or 3 months for sure. So we're going to move on to any notice of motions this evening. We don't have any. We're going to go to district concerns, and we will start with district number 1.
Actually, Leanne, I had 2 items, but Leanne answered one about heavy garbage pickup. Thank you, Leanne, for looking into that. Also, I want to make a motion to put a street light on the area of the South Cove Beach Road. There's no real civic address there, so I'll try to get the closest one to Heather.
Thank you.
If I can make that a motion.
Yeah, that's a motion by Councillor McNeil. Do we have a seconder for that, please?
I do.
Seconded by Councillor McLeod. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion's carried. Thank you, Councillor. Is that it for you, sir?
That's it, Gordon. Thank you.
Thank you. We're moving to district number 2, Councillor McLeod.
Yeah, I have a street light. The street light we have in Beverly Hills is our light. So they reported it's not working again. Last time we asked that somebody go check it out. We never received any answer about that. So wondered if they fixed it or not, but it's not working again. So it's the solar one we have there in the corner.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe they changed the lights, the panels, something. We never receive any update about that. So it will be nice if we can have the report of that.
And contact the contractor. So.
Thank you. And it's again from the bridge, the Middle River Bridge in the McLeod Bridge. If we can send a letter to the RCMP to ask them, the residents are complaining that they don't see the RCMP around there. So one of the solutions for this will be if they can be more visible there to, it's like education. If they see the RCMP for a month, maybe they will realize they can speed. So they need to be more in that area. And it's with that, some residents complain because the stretch where is midway, the people sometimes in the night or evenings, they're doing drag races. So it's nobody is policing there. So it's going to be an accident too. So it have to be ACP something there.
So maybe we'll put that in a form of a motion to contact the RCMP to increase
the RCMP.
Visibility in Middle River area. So you made that a motion?
I will make that motion. Then
we have a second.
Because have to be after ACP. Yeah.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councillor McGuinness. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion's carried. Thank you. Anything else?
Yeah. No, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McLeod. District number 4, anything along the shore this evening, sir?
Sorry there. Councillor McLeod mentioned the RCMP, and it's, we haven't had a visit with them. I might have missed one meeting in the last couple of years, but I know when the new staff sergeant came, they were going to have great interaction with us and going to meet on a bi-monthly basis and sort of thing. And we don't seem to have much communication with them. I think it might be, of course, different circumstances now, but maybe when things level out, we should try and have them come and do a presentation for us, I would say.
Absolutely. I think we can ask them to join us virtually as well if there's an interest. I do know that they've had some movement out of the detachment here with some of the senior staff moving on. And Not sure if they've been replaced, but we'll ask CAO to perhaps get in touch with them and see if they are prepared to come and do a presentation either in person or virtually, depending on the conditions at the next or at a convenient council session. That's a good point.
The other concern I have is internet service is just dreadful. Dreadful is the only words to use, and I don't know how long I've been working on this. I get as much exercise running up and down the stairs in this house as I do outdoors of unplugging the modem to see if it'll help. And it's just not getting any better. I mean, I don't know how many meetings we've gone through over the years, and we're kind of thinking that we're going to get improvements, but we happen to be in between two boxes, apparently, one in Rackhoven and one in North Shore. We're in a bad spot, but I mean, we're not the only people. There's all kinds of other people in our district as well. It's just we're paying the same amount of money as everybody else in this province is paying, and we're not getting the service. And it's just dreadful. There's times that it takes, you're looking at a circle on your screen for 10 minutes before things will start clicking in. So I'd like to be able to get in touch with somebody that we can see if there's something that can be done. It's people that are moving into the community from outside, they're just flabbergasted how poor the service is here.
I believe Develop Nova Scotia was awarded the contract to improve and guarantee to improve a lot of rural internet service in counties such as ours. So maybe I know they haven't released much information in the last month or so. So maybe we can follow up with a letter to them asking for an update.
That'd be great if we could. Appreciate it.
Would you put that in the form of a motion that we contact?
I'll do so, yeah.
Okay, do we have a seconder for that, please?
Second.
Second by Councillor McNeil, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, the motion is carried, and we will contact them for a request of an update for internet service in rural Nova Scotia, particularly Victoria County. Anything else, sir?
Well, one other little small item. I happened to be listening to the radio at 2:15 this morning, and I heard the new leader of the Progressive Conservative Party mention that he's met his wife in Nova Scotia. And I think it might be appropriate that we pass on a letter of congratulations to him and look forward to working with him in the future. Some of you people with the red shirts on might want to cringe, but I think it'd be worthwhile for us to congratulate the gentleman.
Yeah.
I make that into a motion.
A motion that we contact Aaron O'Toole and just congratulate him on him becoming the leader of the PC party of the province or for the government of Canada. We have a seconder for that, please.
Second.
Second by the Deputy Warden. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Reminded. Motion is carried. Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you.
We're moving on to District number 6 since number 5 is absent tonight. So, Deputy Warden, any district concerns?
Just a couple things, Warden. Thank you very much. No motions, but two things. A couple of things that Leanne's already answered in regards to the tax sale and the housing strategy. Great to hear that's coming true. But two things. I was wondering if you could possibly get an update on the lots that we had for sale, municipal lands in Neils Harbor. I'm just not sure what's left down there, if there is any lots still available. I'd like to get some information on that if someone could forward that on to me. Second thing is, a while ago, we did an inventory of municipal lands in each district. I know with COVID, that kind of put a hold on things, but I wonder if we could look at that again, and has that been finalized? And it'd be nice to see and us to make a decision once we have the housing strategy, if there's any of that land that we can use. We're definitely getting into a crunch here in Ingonish, and I'm getting more and more calls all the time in regards to housing and just trying to locate houses or land to build or whatever. But we can move forward on that. It would be greatly appreciated. And that's it for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. We good? You got all that, CAO? Good. Thank you. District number 7. Any district concerns tonight, Councillor Budge?
Yeah, I have a few. One is we had a Island Manor board meeting this week, and we're very concerned with the condition of the Highland Manor. And if the county could write a letter requesting that the Department of Health look at the facility, and I think myself that it needs to be replaced. It's getting old, and you have 4 residents using 1 washroom, so it's not the best of conditions.
No. So would you put that in the form of a motion, and then we can...
I'll make that a motion.
Thank you, Councillor. Do we have a seconder for that, please?
I'll second that.
Deputy Warden is who I heard on that one. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Contrary minded. Motion's carried. Anything else, Councillor Budge?
Yes, I'd like to get $1,000 out of my district budget for St. John Hall in Ingonish, and $1,000 for St. Andrews Hall in Neil Sabre. Okay. And I'll make that a motion.
Thank you very much. We have a seconder for that, please.
Second that.
Councillor McGinnis seconded the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. The money is going to be spent. Anything else there, Councillor Budge?
No, that's it for tonight.
Thank you very much. Councillor McDonald, anything from District 8 tonight?
Yes, I just have actually something that came in this afternoon, and I apologize that I couldn't get this up to Heather, was an issue in regard to housing. I had a constituent who called today with regard that there's no actually, not that there's no affordable housing, but any emergent housing, a situation where there's only, is it Cape Breton Regional that operates the housing within Victoria County? Because there was two units down here, but they've been occupied. And this individual I spoke, and she said that she had called and needed housing last week. There's a situation that, it's kept private, and there's nothing for, individuals per se in Victoria County to go in an emergent situation. And it's something that I think maybe if we could contact the regional housing, are they planning on, any further development in the area? Because any of the homes that have been here, to my knowledge, have been sold off, or they're not planning on re-renovating and selling them off, liquidating their assets in that sense. So if maybe if we could reach out to Cape Breton Regional Housing and see what their, I don't know, I guess what their intention or their plan is, or they could give us an update on what their futuristic thing is for housing.
Sure. It's just a matter of put in a motion and ask the CAO or follow up with that request with Cape Breton Housing, so we can do that.
I'd like to put that in the form of a motion, please, that to see what the future housing for Victoria County for emergency situations is the main concern that I was wanting to touch base on there. If you could do that, CAO, I'd appreciate that.
Do we have a seconder for that, please?
Second.
Second by Councillor Budge. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Contrary minded, the motion is carried. Thank you, Councillor. Anything else, sir?
I'd like to take $500 from my district budget to Bay St. Lawrence Community Center for the Danny McKinnon basketball court for installation of equipment that they have purchased, and they're going to be putting more work into that. So that's $500 for the Bay St. Lawrence Community Center. And also I'd like to take $250 from my District 8 budget for the Northern Victoria Community Center, who've asked for assistance with road signage that they're placing at the bottom of the roads. That's $250 for the Northern Victoria Community Center. And that will be all for District 8 this evening, Warden. Thank you.
Thank you. And if it's under $1,000, a motion is not required, but it will be recorded in the minutes that you've dedicated those funds to those organizations. District 3, I only have an inquiry more than anything else, and I was asked this today, and I'm not sure if anybody else or other councillors or administration is aware of Google Maps is used quite a lot to search our area. Those maps have not been updated in a number of years. So I'm not sure who we would even contact for that. I just maybe asked CAO to contact John Bain with the Planning Commission to see if what process was used last time, and if indeed there is plans to update those maps sometime over the next year or so. So it's just a request, not a motion. So anything else before we move on to the next item on council? I should mention just with this, and Councillor MacLeod may have been mentioning this a little later. I just wanted to give and she can certainly add anything to what I missed. CAO had mentioned earlier that Councillor MacLeod and I had met with the volunteer fire departments. It was their first meeting. It went very well. We met with the chief of Cape North and with the chief of Ross Ferry. I'm not sure if she's the chief, but it was Michelle Sims. We had a good conversation with them. We told them that we were very much supporting the volunteer fire departments. We agreed with a couple of things that we left the meeting with. They're going to go and do kind of an inventory of where every department is with Lyle, come back and report to us about where they feel most of these departments, where their needs are. Some of them are greater than others, but at any point we have to start with an inventory so that we have a baseline. We said that we would take a look at, are there other ways of helping fund fire departments, for example, area rates, et cetera, et cetera. Those were just discussion points. We're not saying that those things are going to happen, but clearly fire departments across this municipality, as in a lot of other rural municipalities, need more financial help to meet the needs of what they're required to provide, both from an occupational health and safety and from a delivery of service point of view. A lot of them have been affected over the last number of years by community support. It's more difficult to raise money, and they're more want to spend their energies on getting their departments up to a safe level of service as opposed to spending time fundraising, and we agreed with them. So they're going to come back and meet with us in the next month or so, and I suspect they will follow up with a presentation to council sometime in the winter or into the early spring. So did I miss anything, Councillor MacLeod? Is there anything else that we had?
Well, I just was going to do a community report about East Online in the budget about is $50,000 we need a clarification about an amount in there in $50,000 in the budget. They want to see it like an emergency. So they want to have some clarification how it can be used. It's just important for check it out, just check that.
Yeah,
yes.
Sorry, that's a new line here. So we're going to look around, see if there's any other municipalities that have that and what is considered emergency and how it is allocated out.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor MacLeod. That was important that we did discuss that today. And it was money that was accumulated over a 10-year period a number of years ago. So the money has been there, but there's no direction of how it is to be spent. So we did say that we'd go back and have a chat with administration, find out what the status of that account is and what's an eligible cost. So, and we collectively all know that each of those 14 departments or 11, depending if they had auxiliary departments with them, are all struggling just to keep our communities safe. So we certainly recognize what they contribute to our communities. So with that, our next item, if our district concerns are done, any committee reports this evening?
Just have one.
Yep.
Well, it's not committee, but I will just let you know, Saturday was the first school for women, the leadership. So just reporting was a very nice day. We have around 125 people. Wow. Yeah, we have 6 women from Victoria County join in person and 4 online. So we make 11 with me. And we have our Facebook page. We have 600 in group. So that, and 30 plus is from Victoria County. So the message will be spread wide, and just tell it that was It was very nice, and thank you for the support to council. Thank you.
Thank you. And on behalf of council, we want to congratulate you and compliment you on being part of the organized committee for that event. And as mentioned, it obviously went over very well. So thank you for your participation. And certainly we want to congratulate and recognize the others that helped put that program together. So well done. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's a great congratulations to the mayor, Brenda Chisholm-Beaton, and Karen Bernard from First Nations. So was very, very nice done. Thanks.
Good. Maybe it would be appropriate to send a note to Brenda on behalf of our council.
Yes. And Karen Bernard for, yeah.
Karen Bernard, the co-coordinators of that program, and congratulate them on a project well done. So perhaps a motion would be appropriate for that. So
I will make a motion if we can send a letter for them for congratulations for the first School for Women leadership.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Done. Do you have a seconder for that, please?
Second. Oh.
Councilor McNeil, beat you to it, Deputy Warden. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion's carried. Bylaw. We have a bylaw this evening. We're going to do a first read.
Yeah, so we mentioned a couple of meetings back a bylaw that we are in the process of developing related to potential development district improvement bylaw. And we have sent this to the province to get some of their feedback on it. And they have looked it over and thought that it was a good policy, a good bylaw. They have also sent it to their legal to have a look at and came back and they said that looks good. The only thing that they are recommending is that for any of our planning and advisory committees, that we build this into the planning strategy. So you've all received a copy of it. Wondering if we would like to move ahead with this as the first reading. You're muted.
Sorry, can you hear me now? Yep. Sorry. We had one councillor express a couple of questions, concerns. CAO responded with some information. Today, we did receive a note back. Thank her for clarifying the information. So we would be looking for, unless anybody has any other questions or concerns in regards to this policy, are we prepared to make a motion that we approve the first reading?
So moved.
Moved by the Deputy Warden, seconded by?
I do.
Councillor MacLeod, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried. So that's the first reading, and that there will be a process that we will go through as we go through the next readings. And so with that, that bylaw has been approved through the first reading. Is there any policy reviews this evening, Leanne?
Nothing tonight.
Nothing tonight. Correspondence. Do you have some correspondence this evening?
I don't, but there is one, I believe, that you have, Warden?
I did receive, and I think I circulated, thank you. You were off last week, so you wouldn't have gotten this. It was a letter from Aaron Schneider just indicating that he could not dispose of fluorescent light bulbs at our solid waste facility. He was directed to go to Sydney with them. He just wanted to ensure that his correspondence was dealt with this evening. That his request, or the information he was given by the solid waste staff, I think he just followed up with what they recommended. That letter, unfortunately, we don't have it here this evening to read, but I will circulate it, and he will know that it was tabled at council tonight. You okay with that? So our next meeting of council is Tuesday, September 8th, 5 o'clock. More than likely it will be a virtual or Zoom meeting.
Tuesday? Okay.
It is a Tuesday because that's the Labor Day.
Oh, okay.
Labor Day weekend. So do we have anything proposed at this time for that meeting?
Like any presentations?
Yes.
Not currently. I don't believe so.
Okay. So do we wish to proceed that date if we don't have presentations, to put it ahead a week, or are we prepared to go that evening?
I think we should think about it. Let me get back in the office and have a look. And if we have nothing in the coffer, then maybe we move it ahead to the next Monday. Yeah.
So I'm thinking too. And today it's 24th, so really it is a short period, and we have the long weekend in between. So anyway, we'll have a chat around that, and we will notify council as to whether or not if we're going to change those dates or not. So anything else to come to council tonight?
Hopefully we'll plan out the next 2 to 3 months in advance so that we know when the scheduled meetings are.
Yeah. We'll plan until October 17th anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
17th? Is it the 17th, the election?
The election is on the 17th. So.
17th.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Councillor McDonald has a question.
Yeah, sorry about that. I just thought I'd like to send out a District 8 honorable congratulations to Raymond and Gay Lillington, who won the lotto actually twice, and residents of Dingwall. I just want to send out a Victoria County and a District 8 congratulations to those folks. Well earned and deserved.
They're very fortunate, very lucky people for sure, and we share in that, sending them best wishes to spend that money wisely. So, thank you, councillors. Good point. Anything else to come to council tonight? We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Councillor McGuinness. All right, folks, we'll see you on September 8th or the following week once we determine the next date of council. Thank you very much for your time and interest tonight. And any questions from anybody from that was outside the council session tonight? The CBC reporter is not here.
No, and I'm not hearing anything else. I've sent in everything that I've received as comments. And
just one final question. Do you think how do you see it progressing with meeting in person as from a technical point of view at next council meeting?
Yeah, we're waiting for a tech, somebody who knows something about tech, which certainly is not myself or you, Warden.
No, so definitely not.
We are waiting to see what the best method is. We don't want to put out a show that like a council session where it's hard to hear, and we can't have several computers in the room because there's ringing that goes off. So we're trying to find the best method so that it works for everyone, so that we can keep the crowd that and 26 is a crowd actually. So Dan is working with an IT guy, and he's just texting me here. He is hoping to know more this week related to it.
Okay.
So yeah.
So it's certainly, I know it's council's wishes to try and meet. We haven't met in person since March.
Right.
And with that, I guess before we do sign off, we want to thank Heather, who works behind the scenes, for taking the minutes tonight, and Jocelyn for doing the Zoom meeting as well. So, and I think Alex may have been here as well. I'm not sure, our Chief Financial Officer. So we want to thank them for their assistance in having our council session on Zoom tonight. So we've had our motion to adjourn. We will get back to you when our next meeting is. And good night, folks.
Good night. Thank you.